So I wanted to have these conversations because I see these uh, dating and relationship gurus pop up in my feed all the time. And I find it interesting the advice and information they're giving is always about men being better for worse. And we talk about hopeflation on this channel. But here's the truth about the reality. The average modern woman sees serving men as abuse. But what a man does for her, this traditional expectation, is what he's supposed to do. That is your job. In fact, you should feel honored to sacrifice yourself, your life, your resources for them. So they want to be under your wallet, not under your leadership. And the majority, not all of them, some of them have been married for the last 20, 30 years. They have no clue what's going on here in the dating and relationship market unless they are out here cheating. And the other ones are single men that don't understand that relationships are tested in the distance. And men's investments become completely complicated when you add the state and you add kids into the equation. Because a lot of men just want to keep the peace and they don't want that relationship to fail because it changes the power dynamics of the relationship for certain men. Unless he just wants to be like, Kaiser Sosa, I don't care. I'll sink the whole damn ship and hit the road. But these guys, many of them, either they haven't been married before, they have no marriage experience, they have no divorce experience, and they don't really understand the mindset mentality of women. And again, I say modern women, but these women were taught by the older women of the past. They were taught that serving a man is like some color purple narrative or something like that. It's abusive, but they have no problem taking. So the relationship dynamic for many, not all, all police don't come here. It's an imbalance of expectation, traditional expectation for men, but women can do whatever they want to do. They want to be under your wallet, but you can't tell them what to do. They want you to provide the 100% provision thing. And this in this modern era, especially in the Black community, I don't know where they got it from. Most people, there was never that dynamic many times in our history. People need to study their history. Life was completely difficult and hard and brutal in certain time periods. Women worked incredibly hard on those farms and taking care of animals and helping out the farm and livestock, washing clothes I've washed clothes on a washboard before, a long time ago in my youth. And I understand the labor intensive work. Women worked hard back in the days. There's never been a situation in life and humanity where men and women have not really worked hard, unless you were part of that affluent elite class. So this idea, the issue, the thing about it is this, and especially with inflation, the way the economy and the society is, the issue is that women don't want to serve you. They don't want to be, you have to compensate them for the fact that many of them were raised to hate men and see male leadership as the evil patriarchy. So you have to pay the 100% of everything. It's like you're paying them to want to be with you or under. Even these guys who pay 100%, these women don't listen to them anyhow. Because again, they were raised not to be wives. They were raised that male leadership is oppression. So they don't want to be under you. So even the women that do that honeymoon phase pretend to be traditional, pretend to be submissive, pretend to be when you add the state, and we living in a gynocentric environment with the unfair child custody, child support, alimony. The woman knows that, and what the woman gonna come in here and say, well, some guys don't have nothing to take. Yeah, right. Statistics don't support that. And it's worse, the guy who's making $120,000 a year has more to lose than the guy who's making 50 million. Because you make 120,000, you take away taxes and all that shit, and you scrape 40,000 off of that for child support and alimony, your ass is hit, as opposed to a guy that has 50 million and he loses 25 million. He's still living great. So this whole idea and this whole mindset that but it's the imbalance once you add the state to the equation. And this is what these dating and relationship gurus don't calculate, because they're just selling men this course. They don't calculate leverage in the state being a leverage party in this whole situation that highly favors her, and that creates this imbalance, along with the idea that the society itself, where there's absolutely accountability has been removed from women. And now that's an imbalance in that household, imbalance in that relationship. And I don't come in here with this God stuff, because at the end of the day, we understand. And I think CGA said it the best. There's no Jesus in the modern marriage. It's all a contract with the state. It's a business contract that a man gets in with a woman. And when it doesn't work out, you go down to the courthouse. You don't go down to the church to resolve that situation. So all this conversation that these guys are having with men is based upon the sprint. Nothing is based upon the distance. So they're telling men to be all these things, but they're not forgetting the other party has to also be worthy of receiving all these things. It's like nobody deserves a relationship. Everybody gets what they earn. They get what the value is. Like, but we're telling men to be all these things, which I don't disagree with. The question is, what are women supposed to be? And the answer is, when you listen to these guys talk, they want you to be some superhero, Superman, whatever, doing 50 pull-ups a day. When the reality is, any masculine man, if a woman is not following his leadership, and she's not adding value to the relationship, he's just going to replace her. It's really that true, unless she has some leverage over his kids or his money, and then he may be slower to replace her. But ultimately, nobody in their right mind has going to be dancing the simp dance or whatever else for a woman that you could just replace. You could just get rid of her. And if she doesn't want to, she doesn't want to get on your program, you just have to bid her farewell. And that's why we talk about eliminating the scarcity mindset mentality, and that's the mindset we want men in. But ultimately, we have a situation where we're trying to put responsibility on men without authority. Responsibility without authority is just pure out slavery. Traditional expectations of men in an environment that's not traditional. Nobody's traditional anymore. And I don't care how much time you go down to the church and repent of your sins. Look, again, I got to tell you, that heavy pounding doesn't go away just because you're a Christian. The mileage are there. I'm not judging. Don't think I'm judging. And I think even with this body count conversation, a lot I hear about people have is that the issue for a lot of men, now, in terms of marriage and wife, it has to do with paternity and kids, and men have a psychological thing with, a woman has been promiscuous, then they're verifying paternity, it becomes difficult because, if I get with her and I don't know whose baby that is, men don't want to take care of other men's seed. The other problem is this: you've price set. Men don't like to be price gouged. Here's the deal. If that dude down the road who was a bum pounded you, and he doesn't have to pay the high price of marriage, he didn't take you on an expensive date, you didn't have to do this and you have to do that, and you're going to charge me an expensive date, marriage, a long-term relationship? Hell no. The dude's like, no, I want the same deal that dude down the street got. That's the body count issue. But if you just charging all men the same price for access to your body, dudes wouldn't care. Because at the end of the day, we're all playing the $59.99. I was like, well, he paid $59.99, I pay $59.99. Well, he paid $59.99, I pay $59. But if you're going to charge that dude $59.99 and charge the other dude marriage, that's when the body count become a problem. That's the problem that women don't understand, is that you're transacted sex at a cheaper price than you charging me. And that offends men. Okay, ladies, you get it? It's disrespectful to men that you let that dude who's hit for free and you're trying to charge me $1 million. That's what men are offended by. And that's what has really stalled a lot of the dating and relationship market, because dudes are starting to realize, and so women are putting all these social media videos and posts up showing men how they are, showing men. That's why the T-app went down so quickly, because they're like, hold on here. Guys, like, there was a portal into women's promiscuity in the era of social media. Not that guys are not promiscuous, some guys that have access, but, you know, women have more access. Men have 20 times more testosterone levels than women. I mean, men always want to pound women. That's just the reality of it. But social media has created an imbalance of women with having access to men that want to use them for sexual pleasures. Relationship-wise, tough spin, because guys know that women transact sex with other guys for free and they're not willing to pay the price. That's really what comes down to the body count issue and all these other issues, that dudes don't want to they want to pay what the other guy paid. That's really what it comes down to. You know, it is what it is. I'm not judging. I'm not saying it. But at the end of the day, all these guys, relationships are tested in the distance. The distance. And I listen to the goofy advice and the information, and even your masculinity is tested in the distance. Her loyalty is tested in the distance. And, you know, the religious people will say you need faith and all these things, but it takes a culture, it takes a government, the laws, it takes society, it takes family to hold long-term relationships together, culture. Everything has to be in alignment. But we live in an environment where we're saying that one gender must be held to the standards of the 1900s, early 1900s, and the other gender gets to be free and modern and live life on their own terms under the protection of laws designed to protect that one gender, and is highly discriminatory against the other gender or the higher earning individual in that relationship, which in many instances ends up being men. And I know somebody's going to come in here with the exception to the rule that I make more money than my man, but that's typically not the case. So what a men getting is basically a raw deal, where you're getting a woman that wants to be under your wallet, not under your leadership, in the distance, with all the distractions and influence of the culture, friends that are highly feminist, family members that are highly discouraging, are not in support of relationship. And then what happens is the relationship dynamic becomes a one-sided situation where 98% give, only 2% receive, and where it becomes a situation where serving a man becomes abusive, but taking from a man becomes an entitlement, an expectation. So that great imbalancing of relationships in life, it creates a complete disaster, especially when there's no support for what men receive from relationships, from the culture or from the environment. So it's a one-sided environment that is highly, highly, highly favorable. Well, it gets women in the long term, because what happens inevitably is that when women that get married young and stay with that man for the rest of their life, that man usually rewards her even more when she's older, because now she's 45, 50, and she has a choice. For women that are married to good men, don't tell me about your loser, the bum-ass dude that you got with. That's your business. Pick better. The ones that are married to quality and relationship quality men have the benefit of early retirement or living a comfortable life, because in their youth, they've sacrificed to have kids, to be with this man. And he's rewarding her with a comfortable life as she gets older. But it's neither here or there. The market is what the market is. And this is why I talk about men's adaptation. And men need to get good information. But, you know, anybody telling, I go to the gym, I work out, I take care of my body. But anybody telling you got to do all this crazy shit, make $1 million and do 20 pull-ups on a bar and all this goofy shit. These are a bunch of guys that are, not that I have a problem with nerds, but they have no experience with life and no experience with women. You see, they have no experience with marriages. They have no experience with real long-term relationships, or they've been married for the last 20, 30 years, and they're just grifting on the internet to get you to buy their course. That's really what it comes down to. I don't have any courses to sell you on bullshit unless it can help you. And nothing I can, what can I help you? I can just talk to you right now. Not that don't get me wrong. You want to donate to the channel? My Cash App is in the description. Because again, YouTube, you have to make a sacrifice for it. But am I going to sell you something that's not going to help you in the current environment that we live in? The current environment, the current reality of what we live in, where things, everything, even if you coach sports, if you can teach all the fundamentals in the world, but everything is tested under stress. Everything is tested under distance. The distance. And that's what guys not talking about. And then you add the state in there, changes the whole dynamic. You better be with one hell of a good quality, virtuous person in a relationship. When you start cohabitating and adding the state in there over the distance, all that masculine frame and this and that, it becomes it needs more systems of control, more systems of management, culture, government, religious institutions, family. And we know that that's not happening in any man's favor because we live in a gynocentric gynocracy infested with jellybacks and ball-busting feminists and female apologists, panda bears, and whatever else. So men have to adapt, and nobody's going to take care of you like you. Peace and blessings to you guys. Make sure you hit the like button. I got to get my day started. The market's open today. I'm out. Time to hit the gym. Make sure you hit the like button. If you want to support the channel, links in the description. I'm out.